anyone should, not if you want an uncompromising intimacy, really passionate, alive, nourishing marriage. Each of you need to be true to yourselves, sovereign, and honor what you genuinely desire. When two people want different things, you can't do two things or two different opposing things at the same time. However, when this arises, I invite you to consider what would be nourishing for the marriage. My daughter's getting married. In fact, by the time you hear this episode, she will have already been married. She will have been married in the week before this episode drops. And in her honor, I want to talk about something that is extremely important when it comes to marriage. Let me also say that I have 4 children, a daughter and 3 sons. This is my daughter who's getting married. She's my first child to get married. And I just feel really grateful for all that I have learned personally and professionally so that I can support her as she moves forward. I think every one of you listening, if you have children or you will have children, the manner in which you conduct yourself in your marriage, the culture of your marriage, is an essential part of the legacy you leave. And so for me, it's this sacred, confronting, kind of expansive, mysterious, unexpected experience to be a mother of the bride and to witness everything that comes before the engagement, kind of the next phase of enjoying being engaged, and then planning a wedding, and then the wedding happens, and everything going forward is marriage. And so, with that in mind, partly in tribute to my daughter and my new son in law, and also because if you're listening, I really think you're going to find this interesting too. I want to talk to you about the concept of the third. In a marriage, there are 2 people. I'll be very specific to illustrate my point. In my marriage, there's me and my husband. But there also is what is known in some circles as the third. It's the identity or entity of the relationship itself. So, why does this matter? Well, there are many times where I personally might want to do something or not do something, and my husband might want something completely different than me. Well, the question that we ask ourselves, sometimes together or sometimes, I'm just asking it myself or he is himself, is what is best for the relationship? So, this is something that we've thought about in deciding to change careers, move from one house to another. It can be in big issues, where to go on vacation. But honestly, in my own life, this is something that comes up much more in smaller matters of communication and desire. So maybe my husband is really yearning to have a particular erotic experience. And maybe it's not the kind of thing which I'm a hard no to, but I'm just not really in the mood right now. Well, I could certainly honor that I'm not in the mood right now, and he would honor that too. Like, we definitely have a deeply respectful, consent oriented, intimate life. But knowing that he wants it, I might not just go with the fact that I'm not in the mood and think about, well, what would be good for our relationship right now? I'm not really motivated to do things in a way that prioritizes his needs over my own. I don't subscribe to that. That feels too much like compromise and acquiescence. I mean, if I want to do something because he wants to do it and I want to do it, well, great. Why not go for it? I did this a lot in the early years of marriage. I'm not talking sexually now. I'm talking in all kinds of contexts where I have not spoken up, not shared what I want, said yes when I really was a maybe or even a no, because Well, that's compromise, right? I was prioritizing what would be good for him. I no longer do that, nor do I believe anyone should, not if you want an uncompromising intimacy, really passionate, alive, nourishing marriage. No, in that situation, each of you need to be true to yourselves, sovereign, and honor what you genuinely desire. However, when two people want different things, you can't do sometimes you can do both either simultaneously or sequentially, but oftentimes you can't do two things or two different opposing things at the same time. However, when this arises, I invite you to consider what would be nourishing for the marriage. What does the third need? What does our third need? And so, in that scenario that I was talking about earlier, where my husband wants to do something sexual and I'm not really in the mood for it, what does our third need? What would be good? And perhaps what would be best for our third is that we both get a good night's sleep and we are in good spirits and well rested tomorrow. But maybe what would be good for our third, for our marital bond, for what lives between us that's neither him nor me, but is both of us. Perhaps our third would be well nurtured if we did go ahead and do whatever it is that he's in the mood for. And any time that I have chosen to do something for the third, for the relationship itself, not for him, because that's most likely to build resentment down the line, and not for me in a super selfish way. Sometimes what I want, he's glad to give it and we go for it. But in the situations where it's neither, it really is beautiful to consider what does your third need? What would be most nourishing for the relationship? And I find this question often calming, grounding, and reorienting to my priorities, to the values that we both hold dear in terms of cherishing and nurturing and prioritizing the relationship we share. So, when I in the past have talked about avoiding codependence and independence and instead really focusing on encouraging interdependence. Another way of saying the same thing is when you're not sure what to do or when your opinions are at odd, consider what would really serve your relationship best. Because when your third is well nurtured, well cherished, well tended, well, both of you are going to feel so good as well. I'm curious. Please reach out via DM, or you can go to my website and fill out a contact form there at alexandrastockwell.com. When you include this consideration, the consideration of your third, what changes in your experience?